Hello, I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. We're sponsored by RSVP, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program of Mature Services, and we're glad you're with us today. Right after these messages from Mature Services, we'll be back with today's guest and giving us an update on Social Security.
RSVP of Summit County has been making a difference in our community since 1972. RSVP volunteers are increasing the quality of life by participating in programs and organizations that provide important services to the community. RSVP matches personal interests and skills with opportunities to serve. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597, extension 166.
Welcome back. Our guest today is Robert Fenn. He's a public affairs specialist with Social Security, and he's the man we turn to find out what's new and happening with Social Security. Robert, it's wonderful to have you back with us again.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Baker, for this opportunity. It's a great opportunity to speak to you and as well as the viewers.
Well, you always give us great information, so let's get right into it.
Yes.
What's new with Social Security?
Yeah. Well, one of the things, of course, that's probably primary on individuals' minds in terms of Social Security is the cost of living adjustment. This January, individuals were able to receive a 1.7% increase added to their Social Security retirement, disability, and SSI, supplemental security income payments. The 1% increase actually goes into individuals' payments if they're receiving SSI at the end of December 31st because it's a holiday, January 1st, so therefore they receive their check that 31st of December. Those who are receiving their Social Security payments throughout the month of January, they get that 1.7% added to their payments, whether that's the second Wednesday, third Wednesday, fourth Wednesday, whenever they're eligible for their payments. Now, what's important about that is that whenever an individual receives or notice about that cost of living increase, that COLA, it also affects other things. And so I think sometimes people, they think about the cash, which is true, and I understand that, but it also gives higher amounts in terms of our annual earnings test. Now, that's important to many people because what if I want to get back out there to work? Or what if I am currently working? And I want to know, okay, if I work, will my employment affect those wages? Will it affect my Social Security payment? Now, if we're talking about retirement benefits, last year, the dollar amount which a person could make before their Social Security payments were affected was $15,480. This year, in 2015, that amount is $15,720. So there's an increase there of amount of money that which they can work, and I'm speaking of gross wages. Also affected by that is those who are going to be turning their full retirement age. So someone, on average, if they're turning age 66 this year, their full retirement age, those for people who were born between 1943 and 1954, their full retirement age is 66. Now, last year, that person could have made $41,440. This year, it's $41,880. And we count that money that they're making between the beginning of the year, January, up to the month before they actually reach that full retirement age. So if my birthday's in June, I can make $41,880 from January to May, which is not a bad salary in my opinion. But you can actually make that amount of money without having any regards to the effect of Social Security benefits being lessened from that. So those are just a couple things in which Social Security has to institute, sending notices out, letting individuals know that, hey, we have the 1.7% increase, true, but keep in mind that there are other things that have changed as well with that.
Well, that brings up a couple questions. For one thing, a lot of people don't make $40,000 in 6 months.
Right.
A lot of people are thrilled if they could make that much in a year. Does that mean then that somebody who is going to reach retirement age, say in June, July, or that, and maybe they've only made $15,000 or $20,000, that they could continue then with a part-time job or with something, or with their job, and still apply for their Social Security benefits?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad you asked me that question because time and time people will approach me and they have a question and they will think that, well, since I'm working, that means I'm not eligible to file. That's not true. What we're looking at is the salary that you're making each year. And so in the example that you gave me, an individual is making $15,000 to $20,000 for the entire year. So I know that between January to the month before, June, so in May, they're not going to exceed the $40,000+ that I mentioned. So that means that person has an option. That person could look to say, I would like to start receiving my Social Security benefits in January, as opposed to me waiting till June when I actually turn 66. Now, of course, the difference between that, January's check could be $900. If they wait until June, maybe the check is $1,000. Now, some people, and this is what I like to make sure I bring home, to some people, $1,000, that's $100 more. That's what they want. Some people say, wait a minute, $900 for 5 months before there, well, wait a minute, that's $4,500 I could collect even before June comes. I have a roof I want to put on my house, I have a car payment or whatever it may be, they would like to use those funds. So some people will have different options depending on when their birth date is and their salary. So the bottom line is yes, that salary can make a difference and they can look to file earlier.
Well, if you file earlier though, say you did file in January and your birthday's not till June, July, August, whenever.
Yes.
And you're getting that lower monthly benefit.
Correct.
Does that benefit go up then at your birthday, or are you locked into that lower benefit then permanently?
Thank you. So direct answer, the answer is yes, you are locked into that amount. So if my example that I gave is $900, so if someone started receiving $900 in January, that amount stays $900 come July or June when they actually turn 66. People will give us a phone call often. They'll say, hey, I just turned 66. Why didn't my check go up? And then I'll say happy birthday. But keep in mind that that benefit, you are locked into that rate unless there is, as I mentioned earlier, a cost of living adjustment. So then they will get that 1.7% added to their Social Security payment. So again, they are locked into it. And so that's a good segue for me to talk about that 1.7% and people being locked into a rate. Many times people will, in December, they will get notice about the increase. And so what they'll do is they'll take their 1.7%, they'll add it to their Social Security payment of $900, and then they'll say, okay, so this is what my check should be in January. But the way that Social Security figures out the calculation, we actually look at the dollar amount that they would have received at 66, then we give a reduction. We add the 1.7% to the $1,000, then we give a reduction to the months that they received their benefits early. So we then subtract it, and then we come up with the dollar amount. So it's possible for someone to use their calculator and not receive an exact number as what we received on our calculation. So they could be off by $1 or $5 and what it be. So I'm just making sure the public knows, okay, it's not just that easy where you can just add the calculator and come up with the same number.
Well, I think that most people by now, certainly, because those notices went out in December, most people should have received that notice that tells them about the 1.7% increase.
Correct.
And I think if they read it closely, I think it tells them what they'll be receiving.
Yes, it does. They will be able to receive a statement, and it'll say your new dollar amount. I forget the exact verbiage, but that's what it would relay. The message would be, and that this is their new dollar amount that they're going to receive ongoing, and it'll say the second Wednesday, third Wednesday, fourth Wednesday of the month that they receive. So they will get that notification. Yes.
Well, in addition to the cost of living increase, are there other changes that are coming in 2015 to Social Security? In
Social Security? Well, one of the things that it's not new to 2015, but it's new as far as the end of 2014 going into 2015. There are a couple of things I want to make sure the public knows is that the office hours, they have changed. And they are, and I'll just rattle them off to you, is that they're Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. The local office hours are 9 to 3. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 3. On Wednesdays, it's 9 to 12. now. Before everyone gets all riled up who's watching TV, you know, hitting the remote, what did he just say? Yes, it's 9 to 12 on Wednesdays. However, the employees still have to work 30-hour shifts. So they still have to work to 5 or 6 o'clock, whatever it may be. It's just that the office hours is closed on Wednesdays to 12 o'clock due to the public. Now, that does not mean that they cannot contact us. We do have our 1-800 number, which is 1-800-772-1213. That number can be contacted between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., even though the local office hours may be closed during that time. Of course, there's our website, which is another option at www.socialsecurity.gov. And make sure that when people are going to use the computers, make sure you say socialsecurity.gov, look for the .gov, because there's a length of a plethora of other links that you can see on the computer. So socialsecurity.gov. So those are 3 ways in which people can contact us. Also, one of the changes from last year is that the Social Security statements, they had stopped being mailed out in 2011. Those statements started up again. So those individuals who are looking forward to receiving a Social Security statement, which basically helps them get a good footing on their financial research, you know, as far as what am I going to do when I retire? And that Social Security statement shows individuals' names, their work history, their Medicare taxes, their earnings that they made each year. That Social Security statement, prior years, it was mailed out every year, as long as someone's over age 25. Now that statement's going to be mailed out in 5-year increments once a person reaches age 25. So 25, 30, 35, 40, et cetera.
So this is something then that applies to people who are below retirement age.
Yes, so 25 all the way up. Now once someone reaches age 60, they mail out the Social Security statement once each year. And the statement comes 3 months prior to the individual's birth date. So they can receive that. Now, one of the things that is big with Social Security at this time is that we're speaking about our My Social Security accounts. I think our latest numbers is 16 million. 16 million people have signed up for a My Social Security account.
Well, what is My Social Security account?
Yes, a My Social Security account allows an individual personal access to their Social Security record, meaning that Social Security statement that I was mentioning. And now it works both ways for those who have not filed for any Social Security benefits and those who have. So let's say I have not, and let's say that I'm age 26, 36, 56, in between those 5 years increments that I mentioned, and I want to see my Social Security statement, but I misplaced it, or it's before my 3 months for my birthday. I can actually go to the Social Security website, socialsecurity.gov. They will see there's a little carousel, a little highlight box, and it says My Social Security, or at the bottom of our webpage, they can see the word My in red. Click that link, and it'll lead them to a series of questions. I've done it myself. Hopefully the viewers do not think that I'm receiving benefits at this time. But what I've done is I've been able to go in and I answered a series of questions. My name and date of birth, the basics, but it also a series of questions that only I should know. Did I ever go to a college? Whatever street did I live on? It gave me 5 different options. My home, did I have 5 or 2 or 3 bedrooms in it? How many bathrooms? Certain things that I know, out-of-pocket questions. I answered all of my questions correctly. Now it's allowed me to have my own personal account, my own personal email. I set that up, and now whenever I wish, I can get my own Social Security statement. I can review it, make sure everything's there and accurate. Now, on the opposite, what if I was receiving Social Security benefits? Now that I answered those same questions, I can go in and change my address, change my own phone number, you know, because one of the things that people will speak about is, okay, do I have to go into the office? Do I have to travel? It's cold today. I don't want to have to make that trip. Well, now for something simple as changing your phone number, you can do so by having your own personal account. So that's what My Social Security accounts are, allowing you the opportunity to take care of things yourself if you wish.
Well, going back to those personal questions, the only reason for those is security, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
that they're questions that ideally only you would be able to answer, and therefore nobody else is going to be able to access that special account that you have.
That's right.
Well, let's flip it around a little bit. What about people who say, oh no, not another computer technology?
That's right, that's right. And that I understand. I will say this though, I just read something on Pew Research that we have 60% of individuals, retirement age, over age 65, who are now using online services. It's a big increase. And so when I speak to individuals and say, oh, I'm a senior, or seniors don't use computers, I brush that a lot. That is not true at all. Now, I will say this, conversely, I understand there are some people who say, I'm just not comfortable with the computer. I know there are some people who say, I don't want a cell phone. I rather just answer my own landline, and I think that's okay. If that's what you choose, this is just another option for individuals, because a quick little short story is that my mother said, I don't want to use a computer. I don't know anything about those things, what have you. And then here comes my daughter. She comes over and she says, Grandma, it's easy. And she's punching all these buttons, and Grandma goes, oh, well, look at there. And so now today, Grandma has a Facebook page because Grandma wants to see granddaughter's pictures. And so that's her way of doing it. My point is that once someone is able to take an opportunity to see how there's some benefits there, then they're more likely to use it. It's the unknown that stops some individuals to using it. So again, it's just another option for individuals to access, and to see what I need to do in the future, changing my phone number, changing my address, changing direct deposit. So it's just another good option.
Oh, and there are so many options out there. I think the important thing here is that you get to the options just by going to that one email address.
Exactly.
And that's www.socialsecurity.gov.
Yes, GOV, very important. Put that .gov in there just to make sure we have the correct website. But again, they have the Social Security website, they have the 800 number, 772-1213, and still is the tried and true. Individuals can still go into our local offices. They can also find that out on the computer. They go to our website, they can have a loved one, pull it up, and on the left-hand side of our website, you can see